Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Mindset Monday. Here we are,
I'm Shelley Butler.
and I'm Eve Doucette. You can tell what kind of Monday we're having, right? Ha, love it. Hilarious.
Just struggling with technology this morning, and
I am
and technology is wonderful until it's not.
until it's
No,
not. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's not. So it's okay. Bear with us for a second here as we kind of set up
So
our
we
new
take a,
system.
we take, yeah, we just take a little breather. Oh. I'm
It's
Shelley
okay.
Butler.
I'm Eve Doucette. There you
Ha!
go.
And
Fine.
here we are. Another Monday, Mindset Monday. And we have decided that we are going to bring our tool
Mhm.
into our Mindset Monday podcast. I think it's important that we show um what we make and what we do
Of
here
course,
at
and
Dovaco.
and it allows this tool called Show Up allows the reason I'm so excited about this tool is after all these years of my management experience and even actually have had a lot of relationship experience.
Yeah,
Like I've
yeah.
had a lot of friends and some good, some not so good. And from all of that, what I've taken away is the most important thing with any type of relationship, either in your life, personally, or in the workplace, is the conversation. So
Yeah.
having a conversation, and sometimes when we keep the secrets, we're not able to tell the truth, right? About something, we're not able to express where we are in safety. That's the thing. We don't feel safe enough, so we don't say the things we need to say. It creates this friction between two people, and after all, a business is a collective of relationships, right? So if you have more and more frictions, you have more and more disalignment with your team, and the team doesn't work well. And
It
it's
doesn't work well.
mm,
And it's a lot of times is because we keep those thoughts in our head
yeah,
and we don't necessarily express them. And then when you finally do express them, which could be years later, people are like, uh, I didn't feel that way at all. Or I
yeah,
didn't,
like
so
our brain. And this is so interesting because I the reason we think so much about the um the conflict that we've had in life. It's because the brain, and this is something new I kind of got this weekend. It's because the brain is trying to resolve a problem.
yeah.
So if you are in a relationship with someone or something and you can't figure it out, like you can't figure out the path, it's like illogical to you. It's something new, something you've not like you can't like. So you're going to invent stories. This is what the brain does. It's very effective at inventing stories. It's really good. I'm good at it. You're good at it,
Oh my God, the best.
right? One of the
The
best. Like I
best.
can
Yeah.
tell you so many stories
Yeah.
about.
She doesn't like me.
She doesn't like me, right? That's why she's buying me chips every day.
Yeah.
She doesn't love me.
Mm, yeah.
My chip story. I have another episode of my chip story. But anyway,
Oh.
so the brain is very effective in making up stories about like what you think. So the longer you let it go, the more stories you're going to make up, and the further away you get from the reality of what really happened. Right?
Absolutely. It's our delusional
It's our
mind.
delusion mind.
Yeah, and it's there for protection as well, right? So, we have to understand that the reason why we are in this space is just because we're human.
Yes.
Yeah, so as soon as you tell
Yes.
yourself you're not good enough, you always have these delusional
Mm.
thoughts. You'll just have more delusional thoughts,
Yes.
express yourself. So I want to tell everybody what's going on. So you're seeing our QR code. You can use your phone for this. You can grab the link below, but we want you to join us in this conversation, and it is anonymous.
It's
It's
anonymous. Yeah.
anonymous,
We don't.
right?
You when you enter whatever you want to enter into that conversation, other people can see it. They
Yeah.
just don't know who you
Your
are, and we don't
feedback.
know who you are.
Yeah, so your feedback is valuable.
It's a safe
It
space
is a
to
safe space.
to
Yeah.
tell us your story. What's on your mind? What do you think? What don't you think? And
Yeah.
it's a safe space. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so this morning, we're going to talk about mandatory wellness in the workplace.
Mandatory. Like when you introduced this topic to me, I
You should
was
have seen your
confused.
face.
I said, "What are you talking about? And I pride myself on being on social media and being aware of all the controversies. Like I'm really aware of all the controversies that's going on well, I thought,
Yeah.
but this one was new for me.
Well, at Dovico, we talk a lot about wellness in the workplace.
Yep.
We focus on wellness in the workplace,
But it's this
not
word.
mandatory wellness in the
Well,
workplace.
yeah, when I thought
It's the word mandatory that freaked you out.
it is.
Yeah.
But then it got me into like I reflect a lot and I thought, well, did we make it mandatory? Did I go on this? Like this is where I went to. Like, did I go? I'm making up stories
I
here.
know.
So
I
did I
watched you
go?
this morning making them
My
up.
eyes were like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Analyzing. My eyes were like rolling in my head, and she's,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you? And then, but one other question I asked myself is,
Trigger word.
yes. So I'm a yogi. I dove in to become a yogi, and I put a lot of pressure without saying it's mandatory. I put a lot of pressure on people to do yoga. So in a way, I think maybe I was putting not guilt, but pressure on people to become yogis.
Well, it's interesting that that's where you're going now because I did never felt any pressure to go in that room to do yoga.
Well, if I recall, I said you can get the CEO job as long as you go take Byron Baptiste level one.
Absolutely not. That's not what you
Isn't that
said
what
at
I
all.
said? What
No,
did I
no,
say?
not at all. But I never felt that pressure. But it's interesting that you're able to reflect on that now and be super vulnerable in that space. Wait a minute, did I actually do that to people? So we got into some pretty deep discussions, which we'll get into here as we go through, because your feedback, your voice matters to this entire discussion. So please feel free to be just as candid as you possibly can because that's where the discussion happens. That's where the communication happens. That's where we can truly have the conversation. So let's do it. There's your QR code to get on. There's your link at the bottom if you're on your computer or grab your phone and use that QR code. So here we go.
Effectiveness and ROI.
Yeah, studies question whether wellness programs truly improve employee health and reduce healthcare costs. So, when you and I talked about wellness in the workplace, people helping people grow,
Yes.
did you and I talk about costs, business costs, when it came to this? Ever? Do
Well,
you
okay. So
recall it?
you're asking two questions. The first question, did we cost when it started? And the answer is no. Did we ever talk about costs? Well, I certainly did. I remember going to my insurance guy and asking him to compare our health care costs, like how much,
Yes, you
like,
did. Yeah.
and how much, and he gave me lots of data that we were well above the average company for, it means like we were more effective in, days sick off and like medicine and time off and that kind of thing. So definitely I was looking at the data as a way to convince people or convince my peers because I was already convinced, but to convince my peers, not Dovaconians though, but my peers, um, that wellness, eating good, doing exercise was a benefit. It had a beneficial on the bottom line. And I'm still like what I'm a 100%. I don't know these studies, but as far as I'm concerned, when people are exercising, when people are there's lots of studies that'll prove you have less anxiety, less depression. The same thing for eating. Like if I look at just my personal self, when I'm like a little low, if I go for a walk and I eat good food, I'll feel better for myself. If I start eating chips or eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, my go-to when I'm depressed, right? Kentucky Fried Chicken or fast food, pizza. When I do that, I don't feel good about myself. So my mental health suffers and my body will suffer eventually.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I believe all that, but I want to hear from you guys out there. What wellness programs are you using? Studies are questioning whether wellness programs truly improve employee health and reduce healthcare costs. So, I would love to hear from people out there that are in the field. Has your Blue Cross monthly fees gone down since you've put a wellness program in place. Ours hasn't. Ours increases every year, just like any other business.
So I didn't know that. So ours is increasing.
Ours increases every year, just like any other business. They are out to make money. There is a cost of living cost for everything. They're not, even though our average pharmaceuticals, for instance, compared to another company of our size, may be reduced. Is it truly?
Okay, so you're talking about two different things. There's inflationary costs, and then there's cost of comparison of costs to like would it have gone more up if you didn't
10 to
have it?
15% per year.
Well, that inflationary cost. My taxes go up 10 to 15% a year, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean, or the same thing for heat, it goes up, but so that doesn't mean I'm not more effective in controlling my heat. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. I see exactly what you mean. But I've never seen our healthcare costs, like our health,
Go down.
group health or our Blue Cross ever go down, ever. I've never seen that.
So
Or even remain the same. But I'll tell you what has gone down is turnover,
yeah, that's a measurement though.
right?
That's a measurement.
I don't find that everybody here at Dovico takes all their sick days.
No, so okay.
But what would you say is a wellness program? Like, do
Well,
we have a wellness program here at work?
okay, that's a good question. When people ask me this question,
Mm-hmm.
do people come to work?
Yep.
Meaning, do they come to the office? I say no. They have a
Nope.
choice. Well, they can. They have a choice. It's their choice.
Yeah.
We have an office, and we're going to keep having an office because, people have expressed, and I'm like that too. Sometimes I want to go to the office, but sometimes I want to go to the office and see no one. Right? You just
Well, you
want to,
want to get the work done
yeah,
as
want to get
opposed to
there.
having a conversation. Yeah.
But I don't have any data about this, and I'm curious to see if what your opinion on that is. But for me, when were mandated to go to home to work because we were in Canada, we were mandated to go home to work.
Yep.
We just went home because we were already like partially there at Dovico. We are already set up. We're already partially in that mindset. But what I notice is I find that there's less anxiety, less depression. People are more, they're delivering more. We have become more productive since we've been allowing people to go and choose where they work. Now, is that a wellness program? No, I don't think it's a wellness program.
It's not a program per se, but is it part of our wellness philosophy? Absolutely. It's definitely part of our wellness philosophy.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have principles, and I would say it's one of our principles, right? To foster. Is it? And this is this is good, right? I remember um, we talked about this morning, and when we were in the office, because we're not in the office anymore, I used to bring carrots and frowned on when people would bring donuts. Like some of our suppliers, I remember one buying pizza and donuts.
Hmm.
And I think it was Felicia who came to me and says, I told him, like, you shouldn't do that if he's going to be upset. And I thought, well, no, I don't think I'm upset about it. But I think I was laying some guilt on, like, be like me. I think I was doing that.
You definitely let us know that if we ate junk food during the day, we were going to be less productive. We're going to be less creative, right? Having too much sugar is not necessarily, a great thing.
So,
So, yeah, we had people that would run to Wendy's at lunch
yeah,
and shut themselves in their office so they wouldn't see
but Shelly,
yeah.
I was doing the same thing. I would go to
I
KFC.
know.
I would hide. Do you remember this?
This is the fallacy. This is the
Yeah, I
delusion.
would go to KFC, and then in order for no one, including my wife, not to see that I
Yeah.
had eaten KFC, I would, make sure that I didn't have a yellow truck at that time, so nobody could actually notice me. But I would go and go hide, and then throw out all the garbage and everything else,
Drive 2 kilometers.
and then I would go and eat my supper in order to continue the ruse.
Of course.
Guilt or what, right?
Of course, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is yeah, this is the fallacy of these thoughts that we have kind of thing. We have to share this. So your voice matters. Wellness program feedback. We want to know, what are the biggest wellness challenges you face at work?
Yeah, so I've seen like when I was part of Metav, we had a fitness program there that everybody got a Fitbit,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a challenge for counting the step. We're doing one right now at Dovico with Uta M. It's voluntary, not mandatory.
Yeah.
But and I get stuck on this mandatory word, by the way. You know, there's mandatory by rule, like it's written, and there's mandatory by guilt. In other words, I'll judge you if you don't do it. And that's what I'm talking. This is what is in my mind. I don't think Dovico was ever mandatory. However, I may have played a role into a judgment, right? And I'm trying to get away from that. But right now we have a program once a week with University of Moncton. They're coming and they're giving us some challenges of doing exercise. I think this week is going to go work out with a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do CrossFit with my son and his team tomorrow
Nice.
night.
Nice.
Um, Now it's not mandatory. Is it a program?
Hmm.
Yeah. So what else? Like, what's the biggest wellness
The biggest
challenges?
wellness challenges you face at work. So, you know, for me, the biggest wellness challenge, because remaining well, being well, for me is more, I think, more about mental health than it is about physical health.
Oh my God,
So
yes, for
I
sure.
have
Yeah.
wellness challenges when I have to deliver a vision. I have to deliver some communication to the team.
So I think if I look at what are the biggest wellness challenges that I would face at work, is being judged. Like if you're asking me to, like if you're asking me to become, like to show off my yoga move in a yoga environment, I'm gonna fail, right? I'm
Yeah.
not going to win. So it's the judgment that I have when I see myself in the mirror as compared to my peers. And the problem with that at work, I believe, is that okay, you're going to get judged, and that could be that could be reflected in your performance. Like so the difference between work and going to the gym is there's an attachment of your boss seeing you in a vulnerable place. I think that's a challenge, not being able to show up or compete or whatever, and you're going to be judged by it. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Hmm. Yeah, like I say, for me, it's my mental health kind of thing. So I get very concerned. My biggest wellness challenge that I face at work is when I have to deliver, not have to, but when I do deliver a vision, I do deliver a new policy, if you will. This is where we're going to spend our development time for the next year, and we're going to produce these things. And then I have people come at me, right? Dovaconians come at me and question my vision. So to stay in a good mental space, I have to be super open to the conversation. I might
Yes.
be wrong in my vision
Why is that wellness though? Why is
because
mental wellness?
if I start to get cortisol overload and I am fawning, refresh your screen. There's lots of okay. Thank you. We're still refreshing, are we?
Huh.
Whoa.
What? Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Oh my gosh. I was wondering what was going on. I thought Eve was refreshing his Facebook, so I thought maybe we weren't streaming on Facebook. We were streaming
Sorry.
on others. So sorry everybody. You guys were
We're doing like
participating
we're
and
having two software at the same time. It's
yeah,
good.
so this is new for us. So I am going to go back
Oh,
here
there's a
because
story.
I
Okay.
think it's really important, right?
I'm gonna go look at this.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely will go look at that. So thank you very much for sharing that. So here we are. We're zipping back a little bit. Stay with us. Effectiveness and ROI. So studies question whether wellness programs truly improve employee health and reduce health care. So somebody gave us a good study on ROI, and I'm really curious. execution matters. And I believe that execution matters as well. So it's kind of
Mhm.
like what you were talking about. Wait a minute. Did I make people go to yoga? Did I force people to the mat? Did they feel like they had to hide on the days that we were doing yoga in house,
Yeah.
right? I go to yoga several times a week. I love that person. What do you define as a wellness program? For me, a wellness program is something like even I were just talking about the University of Moncton, the kinesiology comes in here. We're giving back to them. They are training for their careers and they needed to have true people, real people to train with. And we are part of that. Those that wanted to enroll did, those that didn't want to, no, like it's okay. You don't want, you don't want to come every Wednesday and be part of that. That's okay. Good question. I think it helps to have resources when we are sick, but how can we be more proactive? I feel guilty for taking days off if I didn't work enough to earn it. Wow. Okay. So that's a big problem. Guilt is one of those, is super,
Well, that's mindset. Like you,
yeah,
yeah, we are talking about that earlier on. Like I think the effectiveness of a wellness program gets destroyed by guilt, gets destroyed by comparison, by competitiveness.
it does.
Yeah, it's so, but yet a lot of programs are based on competitiveness, like how many steps can you take, or how far can you become bendy, right? And one of my favorite, I do this a lot when I teach yoga. I'll say, what happens when you achieve a perfect warrior two? Nothing.
Nothing, nothing.
Nothing
So,
happens.
what does working enough have to do with being sick?
I
I
feel
feel
guilty.
guilty for taking days off if
If
I
I,
didn't work enough to earn
oh
it.
my God, I was there. Like not too long ago, I was there. Like I'm
Still there.
as the CEO, you're there, but
Absolutely.
yet you took Friday off.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to
Well,
you
it took
about
a
that.
half a day. um, absolutely. We have to work on it. It's a practice.
Yeah,
It's a practice to release guilt. You have to actually do the thing, but i- you can't, your body doesn't know when you've worked enough to only be sick then. So that's why people come to work sick. That's why people feel that they have to fill in time when they're sick, is because they have this brain that lets them know. And honestly, that's coming from your past.
it's
Um,
it's coming from the
it's
past.
definitely
Yeah.
coming from your past. It's a trigger. So I would say to you, you have to, for 2025, whoever wrote that, you have to work on that more. Every time you have a sniffle, you have to be sick.
Yeah, be sick. Yeah.
Because without practice,
Mm.
you're never ever going to, you'll be 60 years old still feeling like you have to go to work sick because
That's
you didn't feel like you've earned it.
this is a nice thing I like about this ring, the Oura ring.
Tells you when you're
It tells
sick.
me when I'm lacking a sleep,
Yeah.
when I'm going to be sick, and I don't hesitate anymore. And the way we do it at Dovoco for sure is say, hey, if you're tired, you haven't sleeping all day, like take the day and rest, take the day and be with you, take the day. So we've been like doing this for a long time now, right? Doing this like, okay, if you're sick, stay home. If you're angry, stay home. Because if you're angry or if you're in a bad mood, it means that you have not had enough sleep.
Well, and on top of that, your energy is at
It's
such a bad level, right? Your frequency, your energy is thumping at this unbelievably low
yes,
energy, and you don't realize how that affects others.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You don't want to bring your dirty, I always say bring your dirty shoes into
Mm.
my area, right? You want people to be able to do their thing. So this is why working from home is such a great thing as well, right? If you're in a bad mood, can you get yourself out of that bad mood? And this quote here, this we're going to end on this one. My own mental health has gone up exponentially since consistently working out. I get time during work hours to be able to work out, which has motivated me to work out, and I always come back to work feeling
Now,
refreshed and ready to go.
don't you want to work for that company? I don't know who this is, but to me, if like the company that I, you know, uh, If I had a space I could go and say, listen, I don't feel good today.
Yeah.
Can I stay home?
Yeah.
Or can I have time to work out? Can I have an extra half hour to go meditate or to do exercise or to go for a walk? And the boss says, yeah, yeah, you good?
Yeah.
I want to work for that company.
You
That's what I
definitely,
want to do.
yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely want to work for that company. I would even suggest, I'm going to ask you to go out on a limb and don't ask, do.
Just do.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when you deliver, when you're constantly innovative and creative,
Yeah.
nobody is going to say anything to
So
you.
if you start just doing, say, listen, yeah, it's an act of courage to choose. Ever since I've been choosing, this started off around November for me. Ever since I went to
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Dispenza, I've been choosing me. That's not an ego thing. It's just saying, and I was not recently in a trip, and somebody asked me, we're together in a group, and they asked me, hey, why don't you after dinner, why don't you come and spend time with me and like spend time with us and I said, no, I'm okay. I'm going to spend time with myself tonight.
Yeah.
And it felt amazing.
Isn't it? It's absolutely wonderful. So for the first time ever a few years ago, I was the same going to these seminars that you and I
Mm,
go to, spend a
it's,
ridiculous amount of money, go to these leadership seminars to learn, and then we go drinking at night with them all because,
yes,
you haven't
been
seen
there.
them in a year. And when I got over myself that I wasn't FOMO, I wasn't going to miss anything, I was able to go back to my hotel room and just be with
You've been
me.
doing that for a long time.
I
I remember that.
have.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Mm,
I'm good at that.
yeah.
I like my time. So your voice matters. Wellness program feed. What are your biggest wellness challenges you face at work? This is this is okay. I'm excited about this one. I would say getting up to take breaks.
Where's that?
I would say getting up
Oh,
to
right
take
there. The
breaks.
first
Can
one.
you imagine? Eating
Yeah.
healthy can sometimes be a challenge. Carrying large stress load alone.
Like eating up, like think about that. If I think about that for a second, it's like it may be self-inflicted, right? To take a break. I remember when I was on the board of Medicare Blue Cross,
Hmm.
and we would have a break. We would work 10 hours, like on the board, we would work 10 hours straight, and we'd have breaks. But I would do something different on the breaks. I wouldn't line up for the donuts and the treats or the pop. I would go and do
Do
stairs.
stairs.
I would do
Yeah.
handstands. I would do a little bit of yoga in the staircase,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then that's what my break was. I needed a break from all of that.
From sitting, from digesting,
Yes.
from
Yeah.
notes, from,
And
yeah.
an interesting thing is by the time I got to the donut plate, there was no donuts left. So all I had was carrots and a water. So better
There'd be only the
choices.
healthy stuff left.
Yeah.
I love that. So, carrying a large stress load alone, I want to like just emphasize this because a lot of us feel that we have to carry the stress load alone. It's only because you're not having the conversation.
Right.
Having the
Oh,
conversation
right there. Mm.
having the conversation allows you to not carry the stress load alone.
It reminds me of I've been with you a lot of these sessions, and people would tell you, they would ask, it's lonely at the top,
Lonely at the top.
right? And you say, no, it's not. It
Well, how can it, I just don't even understand. How can it be lonely at the top when you're surrounded by 30 employees or you're surrounded by all kinds of
it's because
employees?
you're carrying all of the weight by not sharing. You're saying
Yeah.
it's all on me.
Yeah.
I love Marianne Williamson when she got to Robin Sharma and said, get over
Oh,
yourself.
get
Get,
over
yeah,
yourself.
get over yourself. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we're carrying all this suffering alone, and it doesn't really matter. Like why are we making this suffering like all by ourselves? And it's true, it's hard to get out of it. And I took a lot of practice for me to say, you know what? I am not alone, right?
Yeah, well, it's built into us. So leaders are at the top,
Mm,
right? And everybody else is underneath. So what happens is don't if if I felt that I had to have all the answers,
mm,
it would be very lonely.
yes.
In no way, shape, or form did I ever feel like I had to have all the answers. As a matter of fact, um, asking others their feelings is so important. It's kind of like I shared before. Like I get into a bad space when I share a vision, for instance, and I know that I'm right. As soon as I know that I'm right,
You're done.
because I am
You're
somebody.
done.
I am the CEO. I am done.
Like as soon as you're the only person that could do it the best, and you know the answer to whatever thing that you think you know, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as simple as cleaning a room, and as complicated as this is the direction for the company, right? As soon as you think you have like you know the future, you're done.
You're absolutely done. So it's not about, so it is the CEO has to bring the vision.
But
But the thing is if somebody else says, "Yeah, but Shell, can we kind of tweak it this way?" Or, "Shell, can we have a conversation about?" I am like, "Yes, I love that."
but before, if you're saying no, this is the way it's got to be done. What you're doing is you're carrying the stress by yourself.
Well, it's pretty lonely at the top
It
if you
is
do that.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't do that. Um,
Oh, somebody
like
said I
e-
like Eve. Oh no, it's
no,
I
no.
like Eve.
Like Eve, I think for me it's judgment. Yeah, you're going to be judged.
Hmm.
Sorry. You're going to be
No matter what you do,
no matter what you do, you're
you're
going
gonna
to
be
be
judged.
judged. And even those of us who work really hard on not judging others, I can remember Eve, a few years ago, he said, I know you're not judging me, Shelley. It was a decision that you had made. And you said, I know you're not judging me, Shelley. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm judging you hard. And I had to be I had to be really open and honest with you. I could have walked away and pretended, right? But, in my own and hid behind my judgment of you.
What did I do? I don't remember. I don't remember. What did I do? Did I say, "Oh, did I start crying?" Or
No, no, we don't have to get in what you
okay,
did,
okay.
but it
Well,
was
no. What was my emotion? Not the things. What was my emotional reaction? Did I change? Did I change my
well,
decision?
you were surprised that I told you the truth,
Okay.
right? So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think you were happy. So now we both laughed, as a matter of fact, and because you and I are always going to love each other, but I
Hmm.
always said to you, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like I'm always going to tell you the truth. And I can't pretend like we're so close that if I told you that I wasn't in judgment of you,
I think I remember the. Yeah.
I was in judgment and I had to get over myself because Eve didn't do anything wrong. I was just in my head about I believed what you did was wrong.
See, when I see this, I judge myself more than you'll ever judge myself.
Oh, we all do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we judge ourselves really, really harshly.
we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are wellness challenges that you face at work. So self-awareness, taking the time to check in on myself and give myself grace to heal
Mm.
when needed.
I love that. That's why I
So
love these
important.
devices, and we have technology now. Like
Yeah.
even like you can go to a nutritionalist, they'll take a blood sample from you.
Mm-hmm.
You can go see coaches. Like self-awareness is a practice because we see the delusion, we do not see ourselves.
Yeah.
That's been my discovery anyway. I struggle with being not delusional, like just being real to, okay, well, maybe I am not what I think I am, right? That kind of concept. And so
Yeah.
these devices out there and having good friends, having a place where you can share your
Truth?
truth allows you to actually become more self-aware. And that's
Absolutely.
self-aware to me is number one.
Yeah.
Like it's before exercise, it's before food,
Yeah.
like it's the consciousness of being self-aware. This is why we built this software. This
Yeah.
because you may share your truth here and nobody thinks that that truth is right. You've become self-aware by sharing your truth, right? If you're a
Well,
leader and you think we should be going to a certain place and nobody wants to go there, you're gonna have some comments say, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't go there." A lot of
for
them,
sure.
and it's going to make yourself become question and say, "Okay, am I right here?" That's what self-aware means to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Not connecting in person with my teammates on a regular basis will definitely give you wellness challenges. This new era
Yes.
of working remotely has caused we've seen it on our team even a lot of disconnect, a lot of people staying home practicing
Mhm.
anxiety, we call it. So the thing is when you can run into people and go, Shell, like you shared that vision, but wow. But will they call me on the phone? Will they send me a
Yeah.
note
Mm.
or will they just go back to their
Interesting.
thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So um, it's up to you um, to ensure that you connect with your teammates.
It is.
You really have to go out there and do that. Taking time for me during the day, such as breaks, I tend to stay at my desk and forget to get up. The worst, yeah, worst possible thing you can do. There's a lot of things that you can do about that, though. Make sure um, that you set your timer. So a lot of us, myself included, work on a schedule for my calendar. My calendar is pretty full. I put a minimum of 2 hours focus in the run of a day. Not always do I get that 2 hours, but I have a coach told me years and years ago, set it for 50 minutes and make sure that your alarm goes off every 50 minutes. I don't necessarily have a sound on my phone. There's no sounds that come out of my phone because I was also told by Dr. Greg Wells, thank you very much, to remove that, all
Hmm.
those ding dongs. You know what I mean? That is something that will take you out of flow.
So,
So
so do you still set your timer like to 1 hour, half an hour?
every 50 minutes,
50?
every 50
And then you
minutes.
take
Yeah.
10 minutes to do some exercise?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will get
Can I
up.
ask
I
what
will
you do?
fill my water. I'll
Okay.
go, I'll zip downstairs for a minute, maybe lift a weight or two. I might do some squats right there. I might go out and shovel off the deck, sweep the
A little
deck.
bit of, yeah.
Whatever
A
it
little
is,
clean. Yeah.
I'm not sitting at my desk for 50 minutes. Now I'm going to tell you, I get mad at that. So if I'm in flow,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
But what I notice that if I don't, there's sometimes I'll sit for 3 hours and I get up and it's like a creaky old engine. Do you know what I mean? Like my knees are stiff, my back is
Everything's
stiff,
cracking.
right? It's awful. So you're not doing yourselves any favors, right? If it was a great thought that you had at the 50 minutes, you'll have it at the 60, 11,
So I used can I just
Yeah, yeah.
so I used to do this as well. And the thing I would add to that I used to do, which is really beneficial to me, if I thought of someone, I would send a message and say, "Hey,
Mm,
thinking of you," or a little
I
heart,
love
or a
that.
little heart, or something. Right?
Yeah.
And it could be a teammate, it could be a family member, it
Yeah.
could be a friend, but I would send them a little note and say, hey, just like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like long, or is it just, hey, I love you, or I do je t'aime, like that little
Yeah.
heart thing.
Yeah.
And then you'll notice I'll do that. And I'll do that continuously during the day because again, wellness to me, the first and foremost is mental wellness, is belonging. You have to and belonging means that you have to constantly reaffirm that there's a belonging there. If not, what happens is your mind's going to start delusional. Nobody likes me. Nobody's texting me. Nobody likes my videos, right? That kind of
Yeah,
thing. You're
yeah,
going to be
for
in that space.
sure.
So I
We
think
get
it's
into our
important.
thoughts a lot.
Yeah. And so if you're thinking of a person, like I believe there's a meaning, there's a reason for that. They're on your mind for a reason. So send them a little note.
Send them a note.
Yeah, a little.
Yes,
It's so
absolutely.
easy now with the technology to just say, "Hey,"
Yeah,
and that's Sarah McVannell. Right? That's I learned that from her.
it
Like
is. It
constantly
is.
acknowledge people, say, "Miss, I miss you,"
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be big.
It
Right?
doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Acknowledging somebody can be simply just an I love you. Giving a recognition to somebody,
Yes.
you did a
Mm,
great job, and I want to just tell you what a great job you do is something that's going to make them feel good, but it's also going to make you feel good. So,
absolutely.
connection is everything. And that's what this next anonymous comment is real connection with the team because of remote work. My team is geographically separated. So in office is not possible. You know, we're not separated. We do have a few people away, but we are not separated. But we are. It
We
doesn't
are.
matter if you're in the
Mm,
same city. So though that the person that just put that, we are all in the same city, but we connect remotely. And we have found a way to look each other in the eye remotely. It's a mindset and it's a bit of a mind shift actually. So never feel that you cannot connect with your teammates just because geographically you're 1,000 miles away.
So again, this is why I adopted this from Sarah McVannell. Shout out to her, but she used
Hmm.
to like send us cards and stuff like that.
Still does.
It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be complicated. She still does, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what happens if you want to build a relationship with people, and actually want to build a relationship with you and feel a sense of belonging? It's actually reaching out and seeing people.
Yeah.
Like, if you want friends, be one, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
what does that mean? It means that you're reaching out to people that you may not like. Like sometimes we say, well, I don't want to go to the office because I don't want to hang out with those people. Well, okay, that's the reason why you're in angst and you're suffering and you're in anxiety because you don't want to go to work and you don't want to talk to that person. You don't want to work on that team. And one thing, and we're about team building and we deliver, like what we do we build software that helps teams deliver their projects. That's what we do,
That's what we do.
right?
Yeah.
And the number one thing I've noticed after 30 or 40 years, I don't know how long I've been into this business of delivering projects, the number one criteria is whether or not you feel heard and seen in that team. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the boss. It has nothing to do with the stress of the project or the complexity of it. And I've delivered some amazing things in my life.
You
And
have.
it has to do with whether or not you feel that you belong in that team.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
it's not up to anybody else to
No,
give you the ability to
no,
belong.
no.
You have to feel that viscerally. That comes
Yes.
from you. How do you belong on that team? And the very first thing that you need to do if you don't feel like you belong is to voice, guys, I don't feel like I belong.
Yeah,
Right?
it's true.
How many people will say, but that sound pathetic?
Well, it's just a human condition, Shelley. Like we struggle. Like the number one reason we want to be successful is
Yeah,
to be seen. The
absolutely.
number one reason we want to make money is to be important, to be seen, to be part of something. Well, why not just be seen?
Yeah, so you'll say it once. I guarantee you, you will say it once. I don't feel like I belong. And I promise you that those people on the team will make you feel like you belong. And if you do not feel that, if you cannot get that from your team, you may be in the wrong space. The one thing that we want everybody to feel, you'll hear me talk about it all the time. I want you to feel your joy.
Mm,
If your Sunday nights are angst about coming to work, if you are constantly in every team that you're going to, you do not feel a belonging, you have voiced your, I don't feel like I belong here. And you're still not getting that participation from your team to ensure that they can help you belong because it comes from you. It has
it
to come
comes
from
from you.
you. Teammates can help you through that, right?
Absolutely.
But do not put the blame on anybody else. Soon as you start pointing fingers, soon as you start saying this is why I'm like this, get the hell out.
Like one of the things that this is just me, but like if you have to have all the money or all the power or all the titles to be seen, I can guarantee you that you will never be seen.
Yeah, well, it
There's
will never be good
there
enough.
will
Yeah.
never be enough
Yeah.
money.
You've set the bar just too high.
There's never be enough titles. There'll never be enough power for you to feel the void that you feel inside of you,
That's it.
right?
Yep.
So, um, mindset comes from the inside. It's the awareness, that comment from self-awareness that, oh, okay, I got it, right?
Yeah.
What happens when you reach the Sally up competition of doing push-ups for 3 minutes? Nothing. You get nothing at the end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. If you're always expecting the trophy, if you're always expecting the award, you know what I mean?
Oh, we gave up on that for a long
This is the
time.
stuff that kind of the leaders are made up on, right? They're looking for the award. They're looking for always, to be anointed. You are the best person ever, and you're setting yourself up for failure because that's just not how life works. There's ups
No,
and downs to this leadership game that we're playing here, and I believe that everybody's a leader in some
I
way,
think,
shape, or form. I think that
oh,
everybody is
absolutely,
a leader. And
absolutely.
it's up to you to play this wellness game. It's
Mm.
not up to you, or it's not up to your company to make you well. Don't ever expect that. You have to truly be
Okay.
the leader of your own life.
Nobody is coming to save you.
Nobody is
I think it's
coming to
Mel
save
Robbins who
you.
said that. Is that Mel Robbins who said that? I
I don't
love
think
that
so. I
response.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Um, Here we are. We're moving on. Wellness resource
Oh my
awareness.
God.
What wellness resources do you find most helpful and why? What wellness resources do you find most helpful and why? Community is a resource that is helpful. Finding the right people to share and focus.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for me, I find that social media.
Me
What?
too.
So, like, I
Me
got this
too.
Sally app competition from TikTok. I think it was a young girl. She was a Marine, and she was doing this Sally app. I thought, that looks hard. I'm going to try that up, and I
So
did the
fun.
video
And
on
you
it.
did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
could see I'm losing my hair. I could see that.
Oh.
judgment.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But for me, it's
Self-awareness.
like, and then U to M, and I'm joining my son in CrossFit. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So to me, the community, either through social media or is well, there is no excuse for lack of knowledge these days.
None, none
There's none.
whatsoever.
You
I'm
know,
just going to show you the QR code again
yeah,
if you need
yeah.
help getting in here.
And one of the things that, like I went dancing recently, like lots of dancing. Dancing is a community event, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's fun. Like we did a Latin. I was invited to a Latin dance event a couple of weeks ago. Went to Punta Cana with my sisters.
Yes.
We danced so much. It was
Yes.
unbelievable. And and what I love about my sisters at that community, they do not care what people think about them. They just dance all
Yeah.
the time. And same as my brother-in-law, same thing. Just dances, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, there is so many, guides out there today, coaches out there. Well, there's more.
So the resources you find most helpful, you're saying is not you think not caring what other people think about you. I
uh,
love that. Having a toddler, time,
oh, toddler.
autonomy to do my work when and where.
I love that.
Yeah.
I had my nieces over the weekend,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're young. They were doing splits and handstands. Of course, I
Mm,
took off my shoes and I had to try to do the splits. I couldn't, and try to do a handstand. That was a lot
you
of
can
fun.
do
Yeah,
handstands though. Yeah.
that was fun. Yeah.
Having a leadership team that you can trust will
Mm.
not judge you. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah. That's
yeah,
huge.
that's huge.
That's absolutely huge.
I know, like
Um,
I'm like, I work with my leadership team and they judge me. That's what you just said.
I did. I did.
But it wasn't on the physical act. It was a decision I made. But it's
But
true though. I'm
but
just
the thing
making fun.
is
It's true.
yeah, yeah, you have to talk about it.
It's
You have to
true
talk.
though.
So having a leadership team that you can trust and that will not judge you is it about your leadership team or is it about you?
But I get this. Like it's so important. And I had to get away from my thought. I'm just sharing here.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to get away from that the yoga was the way. Like I had to get that out of my head. Why aren't you doing yoga? Like that, I had to
Yeah.
get that out of my head. I
Yeah.
had to stop judging other people that I had the answer to wellness,
Yeah.
which allowed me to move up to, oh, it's a mindset thing. So that is so true, but it also builds leaders, by the way. I think I'm a better person, a better man, because I could actually go a little further. And I'm not saying I'm done with my retrospect, my introspect, and my work here. I'm just saying it's true. If you can actually see that you're judging people as a leader and rise above that, you'll become a better leader and your team will become better. I think that's a good comment.
It's absolutely
Yeah.
it's a great comment. But if you're looking for your leadership team to recognize that you're not feeling it, it's up to you to actually voice that. We're going to make you if you came to me and you said, "Shelly, I'm feeling like you're not trusting me and you're in a bit of judgment of me." I mean, there's the start of the conversation.
Right.
We can now start to open those doors and we
Hmm.
can now start to talk about it.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, everybody who's on board at Dovico right now, I trust them.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
am not in
Mm.
any judgment of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do I wish some people that weren't as quite as stressed, or weren't dealing with anxiety? Do I think about some of our employees in that light? But it's not that I don't trust them and it's not that I'm judging them. I just have some concerns when people don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
It's as a leader, I think that's probably the number one job you have to do is get away from the judgment. You have the answer to something,
Yeah.
be it a wellness program or a mindset program or doing something a certain way. It's a really
Yeah.
good comment.
So
Yeah.
interesting enough, we didn't get things like I need an EAP system, like Sage, for instance.
Right.
I thought that wellness resource awareness. What wellness resource do you find most helpful? I thought maybe I would see, having a great HR team. Uh,
Right.
is some of the stuff that I thought that we would see here.
Or having we didn't see having a great leader that does the exercise.
Right? Yeah,
We
exactly,
didn't see that.
exactly.
We
Just
didn't see that
because
once.
just because I exercise every day
Mm.
does not mean that I expect anybody here to exercise every day.
This is really interesting. I just realized that. Like all this stuff we think that we should be as leaders. Oh, I should set the example. Nobody mentioned that.
No. No.
Nobody's mentioned that. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't set a good example. I'm saying it has less effect than you think. And I
Yeah.
remember having a discussion with one of my friends exactly with that. He was being the example, nobody was following. And he says, "Well, I'm doing the work." Yeah, but that's not leadership per se.
Well, it's absolutely not at
Mm,
all. It's what we want is we want people to be engaged.
mm.
We want people to understand that their voice matters. If you're working here, that means that you have what do you call it? You have some skin in the game,
Yeah.
right? So I don't worry about those that are talking a lot, those that are kind of like poking the bear, if you
Yeah,
will,
yeah.
kind of thing, questioning my vision. I worry more about those that are just fawning through it, those that are just in whatever, just tell me what to do. That's where I worry. That's where I get in my thoughts, if you will. All
A
right,
great discussion.
moving on. Share your ideas. What improvements would you suggest for wellness initiatives? So this is exciting, right? Because you guys out there, this is anonymous. What
Mm,
improvements do you think that can give us more wellness in our life, whether it be physical,
mm.
whether it be um, you know, uh, mental. It doesn't make any difference, right? Like what exactly do you need? So I'll tell you what I thought was an amazing idea was to get rid of sick days and to get rid of vacation days.
Yeah, so that was a bit controversial here for a bit.
It still is. It
Yeah.
absolutely still is. Hey, who am I, Shelley Butler, to tell you how many days you need to take on holidays,
Yeah.
right? Like everybody's an adult here. You know the work that you need to do, or I believe you know the work you need to do. So can you take off a few days here and there? And I definitely don't want to have a sick note
Now
from your
you
doctor
now you did this when? Like
2 years ago.
and I remember you doing this and you never asked me if I was judging you, but I was. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, for sure.
I was judging you and I'm thinking, okay, this is not gonna do well. But what happened?
What happened was people really in the first year reached out an awful lot
Mhm.
because they believed that now the guilt was risen because instead of only taking the 20 days, they took 26. And I felt like I had a lot of people come in and went, "Shall like I took 26 days this year." And I was like, "Oh, high five," and yeah, so I understand that people had a difficult time. I had one fella come say to me, call me up and say, Shelly, I need to take this time off. I'm going to work as much as I can during this month, but I have to take this time off. Going to see my sick grandmother. And I was like, okay, enjoy. And he was like, Shelly, no, I need to have permission.
Right.
And he was I need to have
I
permission.
remember that.
And I was like, am I the one to give you permission? And he said, yes. And I was like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to give you permission. See, I want people to be able to stand up and say, I need this time. This is the time I need. He understood what his job was. It's not like he was telling me he wasn't getting his job done, right?
So you
That's
what I
different.
think what you're and this is the comment here, leaders who set examples, not direction. What I was getting confused at examples of doing exercise is not really the example. It's an example, but the best example is setting an example for mindset, which you are doing right now. You're saying, no, no, you're an adult. Make your decision. You know that you have things to deliver. If we don't deliver these things, the company's not going to make money. You already have enough pressure, but you also have to realize that you have to be in a good mind frame. You have to spend time with your families and your friends, and you have to make that decision. So be an adult, take responsibility,
Yeah.
which is mindset. And mindset comes before body. It comes before health set. It comes right. Mindset's
Yeah.
first. So that's what you're doing. I think that's the best example. And I
Yeah.
was wrong, by the way, to judge. Well, I judged you, but I was wrong. I look at where we are today. I think we have never been so innovative as a company. We have never been so engaged as a company. And, you know, because we have less, I'm going to say, because we have a better mindset. And that comes from your example.
You have to give
You,
people places to practice. You have to give people places to practice, not feeling guilty because they didn't put enough time in to take a sick day. What the
yes.
heck is that? You have to give places. You can't just write a policy. You can't just write a procedure and expect it to happen. You have to give a place for people to practice this. So, to get rid of guilt for taking too many holidays is take next year, take a few extra holidays and maybe you'll overcome this guilt. See, the thing is if you don't do your job, what I know
Yeah.
is if you don't do your job, somebody will do your job. You will, if you don't show up for your job, you won't have a job because somebody else will do your job. Somebody else will fill those shoes. It's just the way it
It
is.
is. Yeah.
So, um, here at Dovico, I always will say, they'll say, well, geez, like if I take too many days, like, what are you talking about? I was like, listen, if you don't do your job, you won't have a job.
But it's like if I remember when I first time I did my first public speaking event, I was off for 2 days after that. And I was off for a week before that to prepare.
Yeah.
Right. So it takes a lot of energy to do certain things. And it's normal to say you need rest. Thank you, Dr. Greg Wells.
Yeah.
Growth comes into the rest. So when you're delivering a great something that you've never done before, some activity that you push yourself to project, you need to take time off.
You have to exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you have to exhale. It's really, really,
Exhale.
yeah,
Mm.
it's really, really important that we exhale and we understand those things, right? So, like I say, we can write all kinds of policies and procedures about being well.
Mm.
You are the only person who is going to know how to be well.
So I think this is the last slide. Do
This
you
is
want to
it.
explain how this software works so that people can know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Show Up is our latest product. Like Eve said, we do project tracking for costing and billing. That's what we do, called Dovico Timesheet. What we realized after 30 years is apps don't get the projects done, people get the projects done.
True.
Can we help people by releasing their thoughts, releasing their angst by anonymous feedback? Doesn't mean that we're going to run and go do, going to change the whole world by your feedback, but at least we know that now we're having a discussion.
Hmm.
It's open. So even though even though I both felt that we were very open, they could come into our office and say anything. What we didn't realize is, of course, people can't come into our
Yeah.
office and say anything. Depends on them. It didn't depend on us. We believed because we were so open to all the possibilities that would be easy for those around us. So this product allows people, whether you're in a project meeting, whether you're just having a team meeting, or you just want to collect some ideas about your vision. It allows people to do it without any repercussion because it is anonymous. And so you can go on to showup.io and you can download this product or grab this product for 30 days free of charge and try it out with your team.
And I have to say, when I started doing this, it was scary. It was scary to be able to just say, they can say anything. And now I've grown to even when I do my public speaking, I will ask for feedback live with this software. And they
Yeah.
can tell me anything. But
Yeah.
that has straightened me so much as a leader and a public speaker and as a man to say, okay, because you're sharing your truth shouldn't affect my triggers or my self. It's something that I'm like I believe about myself, my love for myself, that I am enough. It shouldn't. And that's the work this product helps you do. As
Give
a
you a
leader,
place to practice.
it gives you a place to
Yeah.
practice and it gives you a place for your team to practice.
Yeah.
because I guarantee you, after a year, because this is what we've seen of using this product, your team will have more courage, they'll
Mm.
have more innovation, and they'll have less anxiety and depression because of it.
It's not like a regular tool. It's not a top down approach. It's not a facilitator tool. As you can see, people can share their thoughts. And a lot of times we might have 10, 12 slides and we'll get to slide two because the conversation is happening with the people and the people get to, you know, I guide
Yeah.
what needs to be discussed. So we may think that, oh, the discussion needs to go here. But then when we get into it with our employees, nah, it's not that way at all.
It's
They
real.
have a different
It's
discussion.
really interesting because I've watched, like, I'm a big change management guy. So, and this is what I profess to see about this. What happens is when we change direction as a company, we're still 26, 27 employees. When you're trying to change that ship direction,
Yeah.
and we change every 6 months, we change direction.
Yeah.
Like, what I've noticed about our team is they're faster and faster and faster to change direction. And I was doing a coaching last week with a big organization, 2 weeks ago, and they were saying the biggest problem we have is change. Yes, because you're not practicing change.
Yeah, you
So
got to
you
practice
got
it
to
a
practice
lot. You got
change.
to anything that you're doing, you have to practice. You want your staff to release guilt, you got to give them places to
Practice,
practice, right?
practice
That's
change.
what we do. So again, this is not a top-down approach. This is everybody is at the same wavelength, the same level. You may be a facilitator by bringing these slides or bringing the communication forward, but this is an open communication tool. And what I have found is I've had to say a whole lot less.
Mm,
It's not just me who's chiming in anymore. It's the entire team that's chiming in. And that is truly what is the power of show up. So this has been a full hour.
I
Very
know. That's
rarely
just,
do we go a
oh
full
my God.
hour. We will get better with bringing these. I tried to reduce the
Sorry.
slides, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm Shelley Butler,
I'm Yves Doucette.
and this has been Mindset Monday. I love you. Get your workout in, and how